Okay, good evening, sirs and all. Our team is tasked to look into this case study called Innovation in Talent Building, specifically into Carvela Education Foundation. So with me today, I have myself, Jason. I have Gladys and Maggie. I will take you through the entire presentation regarding about talent management of the organization, the challenges and the recommendation that we have after looking through this case study. So a very quick update in terms of what is this foundation. So basically, Andika Nasraj founded this organization in 2007, based in India. So it was founded with the aim to nurture and create a system-wide solution to the problem of providing quality education for primary school. We also understand that through this case study that the India education system is not as well off as the neighboring countries, and that's the purpose of this foundation. So KEF has grew since 2007. He has now a diverse team of people. They have members all across the entire FSCG, consulting, banking, and education, which really seen them do since the past few years. So we talk about talent management itself. So basically, the talent management is not just about finding the best person to fill a job. It goes much deeper than that. It actually touches the entire employee's life cycle. The actual process of talent management, to some who believe in it, actually starts only after recruitment. So it is actually a process to ensure that the maximum potential, regardless of where they are in hierarchy of an organization. So as what Lewis and Hedman say, there's no single concise definition of talent management. It's an ongoing process that leads on from the moment they were recruited all the way to the individual, whether they decided to retire or they move on to another organization itself. So in a more layman term, or what we usually hear is that as what they say is that people don't quit their jobs, they quit their bosses. Why is because really it's not about them unhappy about their jobs or their job scope. It's more about because that their immediate superiors didn't help them realize their full potential or didn't groom or coach them accordingly that makes them lose interest in the job itself. So now we talk about the importance of talent management. So these are the few factors. What we're looking at is the career planning. Basically, it's about how the organization see you and how they plan for you to move up the hierarchy accordingly. We talk about motivation of the employees. Basically, it's about whether you're happy, do you still want to carry on the job, do you do your job willingly itself. Career development, again, is to develop the person according to their own appointments accordingly. Remuneration and employee benefits, it's as simple as it gets. Basically, it's about talking about pay and salary, whether is it the benefits are commensurate towards what you are doing in the appointment itself. Workforce planning, whether again instead of hiring someone new, let's say there's a shortfall in department A, you can just get someone in department B to stand in, so that there's no need to get someone new and we have to waste all the years to go and retrain the personnel instead. Performance management appraisals, I think this is one thing that's very important in terms of talent management, so that you are able to identify the strengths and the weaknesses of the individual and to provide them timely feedbacks and appraisals so that they can improve accordingly and overall benefit the organization itself. And last but not least, the international talent management, where we see that how they actually talk about foreign talents and how we manage them accordingly and how we leverage on their skills and the potential itself. So we talk about now, we shift our focus to the KEFTM and their model. So they have two main programs. One program is basically the Principal Leadership Development Program. It's basically for the primary school headmasters and people that's going to take up this appointment. And next will be the Gandhi Fellowship Program. It's basically the youth that will be assisting the headmaster itself. So you can see that these two programs actually covers the seniors and the juniors in the entire foundation, which is a very broad spectrum. Then we move on to their own model of PM. It's actually very comprehensive for a 2-year program, and it covers all spectrums of the focus. However, really, what is the key focus? I'll share in the next portion. What the 2-year program actually covers induction, post-school immersion, community immersions, field support, personal reflection workshop, leadership curriculum, learning journey, and community project. So back to our own model that what we have learned for the past 6 weeks under the talent management module. So what we can see is that it's actually quite interlinked in terms of their program itself. As what you can see is that talent acquisition, onboarding and engagement, development, performance management, succession planning, and workforce planning. What we'll see is that I will not cover all of them, but I think one point to highlight that it really strikes out is actually that the fact that KEF actually focus a lot on performance management through the personal reflection workshop, which is actually a 5 days program at the end of each semester. This really allows the individual to know him or herself better, as well as to receive the assessment and feedback from the program leaders and managers. This is actually linked to the performance management, as I mentioned, under the TM model, and which is, in my opinion, the key success factor for KEF itself. And now I hand over the next portion of the presentation to my teammate Gladys.
Thank you, Jason. So for challenges wise, firstly, we'll talk about recruitment. So recruiting and attracting the right kind of talent for this program was also part of the challenge that KEF was struggling with, as they have to find the right kind of talent that is best fitted for the program. So it was believed that the right kind of talent belongs to the brightest and the best, which are from the top 50 colleges. So these top talents from the best colleges might not be of the best fit to the program, even though they can be the brightest and the best, as not every individual will be interested in this fellowship, or they have the right qualities that the KEF are actually looking for when they are searching for talents for this program. Next, we will talk about the next challenge, which is developing a robust internal processes and systems to retain and provide support. So providing training to the GF has also been an issue for KEF, as it will require them almost a year or so to train them in the systems and processes, and to make sure that they are getting them on task and on the right track before placing them in the program. So it was also required for them to make sure that everyone in this program had the same understanding in order for this program to be successful. So as the program is scaling up and spreading across the country, they find it harder to standardize and maintain their objective and design principle across the country. So lastly, the processes can also be slower or unpredictable whenever partners sign up for the school change partnership. Therefore, it's important that developing robust internal processes and system will be able to provide more support and retain our partners as well as GFs. Next, it will be the insufficient sponsorship for the program. So with the increase of 10 fellows in a year to 250 in a year, have also placed pressure to find enough funding to provide training and retain GF. So KEF has always been seeking funding from people, organizations that were willing to invest in the program with a long-term view in mind, as well as people or organizations with the similar philosophy. Therefore, it has also made it harder for them to seek for such a group of people or organization who will be willing to invest in the program itself. So lastly, I'll pass it over to Maggie to share more on the suggested recommendations for this program.
Thank you, Gladys. Using the principles of talent management, we derived at 4 recommendations targeting at selection, onboarding, engagement, and appraisal. So the first recommendation at selection, we realized that GF was selected based on the criteria such as top 50 colleges, bright personality, and interest in school change, while the perception of like colleges remain more favorable for companies. The question remains whether its prestige status is a predictor of talents. One classic example was Steve Jobs, who was a billionaire and dropped out of college and later co-founded Apple. KEF can therefore consider person cultural fit to identify GFs with matching interests who are able to identify psychologically with KEF through the use of online interest and personality tests. Research also supported that person cultural fit as a significant predictor of job performance and organization commitment. The next recommendation that we have considered is on its onboarding process. So the onboarding process allows KEF to evaluate results of their hiring efforts and help new hires to adapt quickly. As of current, they are adopting a 6-day orientation workshop as part of their onboarding process. KEF can also consider using technology to automate onboarding processes for GFs. Through this online platform, employees can easily track their onboarding process and progress against their progression plans for their careers and development, and also seek feedback from their program leaders on their performance. KEF can also make use of this platform to automate basic forms and identify some of the common areas where GFs will require additional support. The next recommendation would be targeting at employee employee motivation and engagement. So KEF found a lack of motivation among the GFs resulting from a lack of interest in school change, as well as that GFs were unable to experience similar pressures as an employee or student in a work and learn environment. Considering that motivation has a positive and direct effect on employment engagement and job performance, supported in a research by researchers, KEF can also consider adopting the goal-setting motivation theory to motivate GFs. The theory will work as a strong employee motivator by setting specific and difficult yet achievable goals which are accepted by the GFs themselves and accompanied with effective and frequent feedback from evaluators such as the program leaders. The next recommendation that we will be targeting at would be a 360-degree performance appraisal. Appraisals for GFs are conducted in the form of a presentation and through personal reflection workshops as highlighted by Jason earlier. KEF can also consider conducting a formal 360-degree performance appraisal for these GFs to obtain feedback from other GFs, program leaders, and managers who they have interacted and worked with. This 360-degree performance appraisal is found to be able to provide feedback more effectively, targeting at specific performance, as well as developmental areas for improvements. This concludes the 4 recommendations we have suggested for KEF to consider in terms of the principles of talent management. With this, we have come to the end of our presentation, and thank you for your attention.